Hello, dear ones, it's Alice. I am of the stars. Nuts and bolts again today. This is just an explanation to prevent further bad feelings on the part of some of my viewers. And it has to do with how I behave when I run across people who intend physical or financial damage to me, okay? So I'd like to make it very clear that I don't use this format, this blog format, for those purposes. I don't use this blog to inform a wider social circle that someone intends to steal my money or to murder me or to try to imprison me or whatever it is that they might have in mind, okay? So you can't look here for social gossip with regard to people who don't abide by the law. This is an educational blog, and it's intended to help people, other people who have problems like that, to get through the ascension without becoming penniless, without finding themselves homeless, without being killed or physically injured. And that is because I'm certain that other ascending people, other ascensioneers, are faced with problems similar to those that I'm encountering. Okay, so this is an educational blog, and it has to do with helping other people who are perceived as victims in this predator-prey paradigm, helping them to avoid being preyed upon. So there's no use for predators, people who are hoping to injure me, to try to shut down the website, because that's not the avenue that I take with regard to that. This is just an educational website, you see. So let's say someone tries to steal my money through hackware. Then I go, this is what I do. I don't blog it unless it's to warn other people about the hack. Instead, I go to the FBI website online, and they have a section for submitting tips. And then if you pass a number of hurdles and make a bunch of check marks, you come up with what they call the electronic tip form, okay? And there you can report tips. So this has to do with civil rights, corruption, counterintelligence, counterterrorism, crimes against children, cybercrime, so that's hackware, federal election crime, financial economic crimes and fraud, fugitives, violent crimes, and there's an interesting section, other FBI crimes. So if you have issues with that you discover as a light worker to do with the greater good, the common good of the people of the world, you can submit them there, and they might be able to help out, especially if they're getting other tips along these lines. So there's a very simple thing you can do if you're in the victim paradigm and not the predator paradigm, because the FBI is on the side of the victims. So if your record is blameless, you can go to the FBI and submit tips for the good of the world as a light worker, if you feel that may help. It may not help, because peacefulness is the main thing. But if you feel it's very important for the continuation, for example, of the American economy or the world economy, you can submit tips regarding hacks there. Now, so that's one thing that I do when I run across these things, if I have a real-life example of it. And then the second thing that I do, if I run across an attempt against my life, for instance, is I go to victims' rights. I think there are victims' rights in every state. So you can go to victims' rights. They're very experienced, and they can advise you how to proceed. In my opinion, there's just no point in reporting crimes on a blog, because the people that are reading the blog might well be the people that are intending the crime, you see, or that have done the crime, because they feel guilty. Okay, so I'm aiming at the light worker audience in my blog. Okay, and then when crimes occur or crimes are intended according to my hunch or my intuition, then I go to an agency that can help with that. It might be this FBI tips if I want to help the world. It's better than a blog, I feel. And it might be victims' rights. If a crime has been perpetrated already, then I go to the local police department or the police department in the area where the crime was committed. And I'm advising that only as a last-ditch effort. If all of your light worker techniques fail, then you have to go and you have to protect yourself. And there are karmic issues with regard to all these avenues that I suggest, because you're taking action in the world in a non-peaceful manner. The best is to emanate peace, to do your spiritual practice, to practice your breathing techniques according to the Enlightenment 1 blog that I have for you, Mastering the Mind, Enlightenment 1, that's Mastering the Mind 13. And 14 is coming up shortly. Okay, so I'm speaking to those of you who intend me harm and who are watching this channel for hints that I know what's up, okay? So for those of you that are attempting to prevent me through black magic or through the subconscious continuing wishes, trying to prevent me from broadcasting your guilt on this channel, that's just not going to happen, okay? For issues regarding damage to my person, I go to the appropriate physical authority. I don't broadcast it as social gossip online. I know that social gossip is a very compelling way of being for many people on earth, but I don't believe in social gossip. From my spiritual stance, I feel it to be a very great sin. Okay, so what that means is I don't do it. I don't do social gossip. Now, if you're living and breathing social gossip, you must be figuring she's being very careful about it, and she's disguising it, and she's lying about what's really so. And from that, I always gather that must be the mode of operation of the people in a person's social milieu in order for them to think this thing. I don't know how much clearer I could be about this. It's an unfortunate dimension, the third dimension, in regard to physical violence. Okay. Well, we have to figure out what really works if push comes to shove. We have to go to the authorities, etc., etc. It's a lot better to just go on a trip, go on a spiritual trip, or yatra, or move away for a little while, or go to a safe place out in nature than to sit in place and be the clay pigeon waiting for someone to shoot, So in times of X-flares and so forth, sometimes it's important to move to a different area for a while, or to not go out at all, or whatever it is that makes us feel particularly safe, X-flares are known for that, okay? I'm hoping that those of you who are spending all your effort on trying to shut down my website and prevent my word from getting out to the light workers will please cease. It's not doing you any good. It's completely useless, and it's off point. It's irrelevant. Okay. All right, enough of that haranguing for one day. God bless you all and keep you safe, and be with you through all your days. And God bless me and help me to get the word out to those that are ascending so that they'll be safe as well. Y'all, harming other people is just not the way to stay safe. You get the karmic boomerang right away. Okay. You have to face the music. In love, light, and joy, this is Alice B. Clagett. I'm of the stars, and another hard blog is behind us. Thank you for listening all this way. My website is Awakening with Planet Earth, https://awakeningwithplanetearth.com. Come and visit me there. All right. So long, Lightworkers. Farewell until next we meet.